Tuesday, Donald Trump unveiled his big plan to relocate Gazans and turn their homeland into the world's holiest Hard Rock hotel and casino. And today, the reviews are in. The Arab world hates it. Democrats condemn it. Republicans have problems with it. And the Palestinians won't abide by it. Or as Trump says...
Can we ask about your Gaza proposal? A lot of people are talking about, obviously,
everybody loves it.
I stand corrected. I guess everybody loves it. And even though the plan was totally perfect in every way, his staff spent the entire next day walking back every single part of it.
The president said his intention was to remove Palestinians from Gaza permanently.
If we can get a beautiful area to resettle people permanently.
But today, the press secretary said it would be temporary.
The president has made it clear that they need to be temporarily relocated out of Gaza for the rebuilding of this effort.
Oh, Trump's press secretary just had her first walk back. This is an important rite of passage for Trump's spokespeople, their bull mitzvah, if you will. She was spending so much time walking back the plan that at one point she ran out of English words.
This is an uninhabitable place for human beings.
Yeah, so true. Remind me how it got uninhabitable again? Even worse for Caroline, while she was scrambling to salvage Trump's plan, Trump was on Truth Social readjusting it on the fly, which left everybody even more confused.
Breaking just a short time ago, President Trump seemed to backtrack, but also to double down on his plan to take over Gaza.
A backtrack and a double down? And now, on the uneven bars, Donald Trump will attempt the rare combination backtrack, double down. Now, let's see if he breaks every bone in his body. But while his team tries to fix his Gaza plan, Donald Trump has already moved on because he's basically the norovirus. Every day he spews executive orders all over the place, and while we struggle to clean up all the puke, he comes out the other end with something even worse. He tried to buy out the entire workforce of the CIA. His DOJ is going after anyone who's investigated him. And now he has defeated America's biggest threat.
At the White House today, President Trump signing an executive order banning transgender women and girls from competing in women's sports.
With this executive order, the war on women's sports is over. We're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding.
You notice how he paused right before invade your locker rooms? Like, maybe we won't make that illegal. Should have proofread this. Look, it's bad enough that he's banned trans women from sports, but spare us the performance of pretending that this is a top issue for women in this country. Maybe start with, I don't know, reproductive rights or pay inequality. Or why it's 2025 and still none of my clothes have pockets. Now, you might be wondering, is this really going to be the entire Trump presidency, just divisive executive orders every day for the next 4 years? Probably, but on the bright side, he did have one executive order today that felt relatively harmless.
I have signed an executive order to resume the process of creating a new national park full of statues of the greatest Americans who ever lived. It would be called the National Garden of American Heroes, and I hope that Congress will fully fund this wonderfully unifying project at the first possible opportunity.
Excuse me, sir. Americans already have a national garden, and it sells unlimited breadsticks. I never thought I'd say this, but Elon, I got some government waste for you right here. Does anyone have the phone number of the Department of Government Efficiency? Actually, they're all 12-year-olds. Does anyone have the Roblox usernames of the Department of Government Efficiency? But the question is, in these divided times, will Trump's Garden of Heroes help to unify Americans? To debate this issue, let's go live to Ronny Chieng and Josh Johnson. Ronny, let's start with you. Do you see this garden as something that could actually raise morale around the country?
No, this country is pretty that being said, this is actually a good idea. I do like a garden of heroes. I mean, America is so divided, but if we can walk in a garden with statues of George Washington and Neil Armstrong and Paul Giamatti, maybe it'll bring us together.
Okay, and Josh, what's your take?
Yeah, it's great. Did you say Paul Giamatti? The bald guy from Billions is in your top 3?
He's also the bald guy in Sideways and Big Mama's House. Also, I saw him eat a hot dog in Union Square, although that might have just been another bald guy. But either way, American hero.
Giamatti's not statue status. At best, he can be a plaque or a name on a bench.
A bench? The thing people fought and smoked crack on? I don't think so, okay? Paul Giamatti gets a statue, maybe 2.
We're not putting Paul Giamatti next to Abraham Lincoln and John Adams.
Paul Giamatti won an Emmy playing John Adams, okay? How many Emmys did John Adams win for being John Adams?
Ronny, what the are you talking about? John Adams was the second president, and he didn't have slaves. Early America, no slaves. Second president. Pretty cool.
Oh yeah, you know who else didn't have slaves? Paul the Hardy with the body Giamatti.
I'm really trying to be unified right now, but Ryan, I'm truly gonna kill you.
Okay, well, why don't you come over here? I'll unify my fist with your face.
Okay, guys. Fist fighting over Paul Giamatti is not what the Garden of Heroes is all about.
Oh, I'm sorry that I don't want to walk through a garden staring at Lincoln's penis.
Ronny, what? Why would his penis be out?
Because obviously the statues will be naked. Like they are in Europe. They all got little baby carrot dicks, okay? It's called culture.
Bro, this is America, all right? Our statues have clothes, wear funny-ass hats, and ride horses.
Okay, look, I'll give you the hats and horses, but they're nude or I walk.
Excuse me, guys. Before we get into their outfits, I just want to point out that neither of you have mentioned any women heroes.
Oh! Can we please not DI the f***ing garden?
Walking through the park and seeing Eleanor Roosevelt, Rosa Parks, Susan B. Anthony, and other inspiring women who would look great as gnomes.
Gnomes?
Well, it's a garden. Obviously, all the heroes will be gnomes. You'll be walking around and be like, oh, look, it's Ruth Bader Ginsburg's gnome.
Okay. We are not making the statues into gnomes.
And if we did, wouldn't it be Ruth Bader Gnomesburg?
I hate you and I hate your half of the country.
Guys, this garden is tearing us apart. Please, let's compromise, okay? For the sake of all unity and all things dignified, we will give Ronny a Paul Giamatti statue.
Thank you.
And to please Josh, Giamatti will be wearing a John Adams hat.
Thank you, Desi.
And he'll be naked on a horse next to a proud gnomes Bader Ginsburg.
Okay. Fine, but she's nude and her boobs have to look like Paul Giamatti.
No.
I'm fine with that, as long as she's surrounded by, like, a lovely little field of begonias.
No.
Begonias? You stupid f***. It's Piccadilly, so I burned this garden to the ground.
Okay, you know what? Forget it. Forget the garden. Unification canceled. Ronny Chieng and Josh Johnson, everyone.